Hi everybody. I am doing a show and tell because I've just finished my very first ever Tussie Mussie, and not only is it a Tussie Mussie, but it is also a stick pin holder, stick pin cushion. Yeah, that's what you call it. So it's a Tussie Mussie stick pin cushion. Very first stick pin cushion I've ever made, as well as my very first Tussie Mussie. I really had no interest in doing these. I totally scrap lifted this idea from mynashka. I don't know if I'm saying that right, here on YouTube. And like I said, I had no interest in doing these until I saw her video, and I was so in love with her project that it inspired me to want to make one of my own because I thought it was so beautiful. So I am really happy with the way mine turned out. And I just wanted to get a picture of it hanging because it really looks so pretty hanging up. Even though this isn't where it's going to go, I had to actually take down 2 sets of laces and fibers and trims from where I keep them, you know, some of them stored anyway. And just so I could show you this, I don't have a home for this yet, so storage and display space is starting to become an issue in my craft room here. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but for right now, this is just to show you. I'm going to take this down in the next segment and go over what I did and how this came together, because though I did, like I said, lift it from mynashka here on YouTube, there are a lot of differences. The fact that it's a Michael's paper mache cone, it's a stick pin cushion, you know, just a few things that are different. So anyway, to get right up on, you know, close here, this right here is just the close-up. I did a little dangle on it with some different, you know, fibers and some industrial chic rhinestone trims. This, well, I'll get into that, like I said, later, but like I said, I just wanted to kind of do a video of it actually hanging. And then this is the back side of it. I used some flat back pearls to go right down the back of that. Kind of a crooked line. Didn't do a good job keeping that straight. Okay, so I'm going to break right here, and I'll be back. I'm going to take the stick pins out and go over what I did. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so what I did on this is, and let me grab one. This started out as the Michael's paper mache cone, and this is let me see what the height is on this. Excuse me, it is like 10 1/4 inches high, and I took some of the first thing that I did was that I cut out a piece of my Waverly, it's the Waverly home decor fabric in the toile, you know, that toile fabric right there. I got it at Joann in the store. They have it online as well, but I believe this is in the home decor section. And to adhere it, I took some of the, after I cut out my little square, I just made sure that I was able to wrap the cone and get it, you know, on there. So I just wanted enough of the fabric to cover that. And since I didn't have to worry about doing anything, you know, on the inside here, since I knew I was going to make a stick pin cushion out of it. Now the next couple of Tussie Mussies that I make, I'm going to have to do something because they're not going to be stick pin cushions. So I'll do a video on that when it's done. But anyway, so to the back of the fabric, I use the spray adhesive. Again, something I picked up at Joann. And that worked out great because it was so tacky that I was able to roll it up and get a very good neat adhesion to the paper mache cone. So I like the way that that turned out. So right when I saw it, that was my base, and I was like, great. Then all I had to do was you know, start figuring out what I wanted to do as far as making the embellishments. And you know, I had to think about, you know, what part had to come first, because I knew once I filled the top of this, I wouldn't be able to do anything to the inside. So things like that I had to think about. So the first thing that I did after I had this wrapped is I snipped off the bottom, because I knew I wanted to do a tassel on it just like mynashka had hers. I don't know how she put hers on, but what I did is I snipped off the bottom, and then I just ran with a needle and thread, I just ran a stitch through the top piece of each of these trims. And then I ran that through a few times, put the needle up through the hole, drug it up this way, so that it came up into my cone a little bit. I grabbed my hot glue gun and just squirted the heck inside, trying to get it down to the bottom of this so that it would make all those fibers stick. And yeah, it did a really good job, because this is in there real tight now. So there may be an easier way to do that. I just didn't know what it was, and that's the one that I went with. I just went through my stash and picked out a bunch of black and white fibers, and like I said, some of that industrial chic trim, just to throw a little bit of bling in there. So if I can get it, there's, you know, just the silver bling right there, and then the couple of pieces of this black with the little rhinestones in it. So, and then after I had that done, because the hole was visible with just these fibers coming out, I decided to take one of the appliques that I got from, I believe her name is Sherry, I want to say. It's Sunrise, it's the eBay lady who sells all these appliques at such a great price. I will post a link to this below in my description as well, to her store, because you get a lot of these little appliques. So I just put one of those on there, and I wrapped it around using my hot glue just around the, you know, outer edges here, and that's how I adhered that down. I did run a line of flat back pearls on the seam where the fabric ends and meets up with the other side. So that's why that flat back pearl was used back here. Then after I had that done, I went ahead and, whoops, then, because still I'm having to think about, oh, the pincushion part has to go in. So the first thing I wanted to do was punch my holes. After I did this, was punch the holes on each side where I was going to connect this chain. This is an old piece of jewelry. It was an old rosary. And now I'm not Catholic, I'm not religious, so it was just a piece of jewelry I had in my box. And so I took it apart to use as the hanger for my, you know, for my Tussie Mussie here. So I wanted to punch the holes in there with my crocodile, because the crocodile is strong enough to go through this paper mache cone. And then I put a jump ring in each side and then attached the chain. This had a toggle closure on it. I just took that toggle closure off and attached the looped wire to the jump ring. And then I had my hanger. So then after that is when I stuffed, for the most part, wadded up magazine pages all the way pretty much up to here. I knew I wanted stick pins to go in here, and I used the really long floral pins from Joann's, so I did need there to be, you know, quite a bit of that foam so that all the pin would go in. So from about here up is where I put fiber fill, whatever they call that, the fiber fill, to top it off. And then I had this white satin material, again from Joann. And, yeah, I don't know how the people here on YouTube do these pin cushions with perfectly round cushion tops, because mine turned out horribly. This was just a nightmare trying to get this in. I did not enjoy that at all. I'm gonna have to watch some more videos to see how people do it, because yeah, mine is kind of wonky, which is why I decided to do the eyelet ruffle lace upside down to try to mask a lot of the glue mistakes that are happening around this outer edge that you no longer can see because this eyelet lace is on here now. So anyway, so then that was that part, and then I just went through the, you know, the rest of it, embellishing it. So this is just some of that fur trim. I got that at Walmart, actually. A piece of black lace, no idea where I got it. The same with this little white lace as well, the little scalloped lace. I have no idea where I got these two, but you know, I just threw that on there as well. I just gathered up some tulle, white and black, and just kind of pinched it together and then tied it around with some thread to keep it in place. Glued it on using the Helmar 450 glue because I was worried about using hot glue on this. I thought it would melt it. But then I turned around and used hot glue on the chiffon flower that I got from Gisela Lavish Laces. And then the center part here is some of the new bling that I got from Dee Armisted's Facebook De-Stash Your Crafts sale, that TNT sale she had. I did a haul on that last week, I think. But anyway, so this is one of the pieces that I got from her. Absolutely love it. I was so happy I was able to use one of her pieces on a project. So I am actually starting to use some of the things I buy. Yay! Instead of hoarding it. And that's it. So that's pretty much how this came together. This actually came together really quickly. So much easier than a journal that I spend 3 weeks on. And so I love the way, like I said, that this turned out. Yeah. I just felt a need to share it because, like I said, it was my very first one. And I'll be back with something else because there's a ton of things on my crafty bucket list that I want to do. So I'll see you guys later.